Alright, welcome back nerds. So now we're going to finish the Bluetooth RC car soldering. All we need to do is put on some of these through-hole components and then also solder the jumper. We're going to go ahead and solder the jumper first, but here you have a choice. So if you look very carefully or at the schematic provided, you might be able to see the traces. You won't be able to see them on the camera, but you should be able to see it right in front of you. That what we need to do is connect one of these two jumpers, middle to the right, middle to the left, one of those two pairs, and it'll essentially bridge them. And so it's very hard to see, you have to look at the traces, but the X thumbstick, so the one that will move left and right, will be connected to this left jumper. So if you want the turn to be on the right thumbstick to turn, then presumably you want the X direction to be the turning. You want to solder the left and the middle part of the jumper. Similarly, if you want the right side to be your throttle in the Y direction for the thumbstick, then you want to solder the middle and the right jumper. And vice versa on the left side, pretty much whichever one you want to be turning or throttle. And so on the left side, just to be complete, the X thumbstick will be connected on the left side, so left and middle, and the Y thumbstick, so up and down, will be connected to the middle and the right. So this is completely your choice. The way I'm going to do it feels intuitive to me. However, many have disagreed, is that on the left I want it to turn, and on the right I want it to move up and down. I'm using soldering iron off screen here and solder, so this typical soldering station. When you solder, you should have seen the soldering videos. However, just be complete here and it'll refresh. You always want to tune the tip. Make sure you have a good tip, so make sure it's nice and silvery. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, this choice is completely up to you. I'm gonna make the left side X and Y, so my steering thumbstick. I'm gonna do that, touch both pads, and apply a little bit of solder. There we go. So make sure the bridge, make sure it's not connected to all three of them. If not, you can undo it. Similarly for the other side, I want to connect to Y, which is the right one. There we go. Good. Make sure you tin the tip some more or clean the tip as needed. The next components we have are where the joysticks go, where the Bluetooth goes. So I'm going to do thumbsticks next. I want to flip it over. But if I have both on at the same time, it keeps it nice and flush. Real quick, I think this is important. When you solder it, just solder one pin. It may not be perfectly aligned, and that's okay. We'll fix it. Feel free, if needed, to use tape or something else to secure it down. So I'm just going to do one pin on each side first. Alright, so now that you have one pin, of course it's not completely secure, but if you need to do any flattening or adjustments, this one's a little sideways. So what I did here, was hard to see, is while I heated up, I pulled the pins out so that they would be flush or flat. Careful, so the pins I happen to be doing, the ground pins, which are connected to a ground plane, so the entire PCB might actually start to get hot. It'll also be the hardest ones to solder. That's probably why I was struggling a little bit when I was doing those just now. So now I'm going to do the opposite pin of the ones I just did. Good. So if you need to make any more adjustments, you can do it now, but it looks fine. It's nice and flush. You may need to do that, and that's fine. And then the other one should be easy. Good. Next, I'm going to do the Bluetooth one, and similarly it should be same technique. Opposite side. Good. And then the rest of the pins. Good. Next I'm going to do WRISP. So you notice it's kind of be offset. That'll be fine. Again, same technique. Good. Make sure it's nice and flush on the other side. Then opposite side. Good, just flush. And then simply the rest of the pins. Good. Next, we're gonna do the switch, second to last part. The switch is in there nice and flush. Solder this guy. If it isn't obvious, you don't solder the side pins. They don't have any copper to solder to. Those are just for balance or for strength. And then the last 2 pins. Cool. And then finally, you have the light battery connector. So careful. You could solder on the top, but I don't recommend it. We had it designed for the bottom. The reason is it has a silk screen here. Again, we could have probably had it go on the top, but I thought it would look kind of tacky. So we put it on the bottom. And then also pay close attention, there's a plus and a minus. So the plus will be red, and then the black will be minus. So this one's kind of painful to actually solder. Just try your best to fit it in there going straight. We'll bend it in a moment. And then it doesn't matter which one you do. I would probably try to avoid ground first. And finally, connect the ground pin. Then you flip it over. You're welcome to add a little bit of solder here if you want. It's optional. And we will bend it upwards. Probably do this off camera, as you might want to put a little bit of super glue or hot glue from a glue gun over the wires here so that it doesn't come off over time, or if you bend it back and forth enough times, it'll actually break the wire connection. Or if you do a little bit of glue, it'll keep it connected. But at that point, you'll also have to choose which way you want the wires to feed. Cool, so that's pretty much it for the remote. I recommend, if you guys are interested, you can clip off the extra pins here. Just note that when you do that, make sure you wear goggles, and to make sure that when you do clip this, if there are students around, that you don't shoot the projectiles towards them. We are, and you might make some sharp pointy edges. If you want, you can go over those with the soldering iron to kind of glaze them out. Cool. That's all there is to it. That's the remote. You can feel free to plug in the Bluetooth and the joysticks and see how everything fits on there. Finally, the last thing we do is program the remote, and we'll do that next.